Get out.
It's not a thing, Andrew. You can't. It's not a thing, Andrew. You can't get the thing.
A riven. A riven is going to be the word now. Not arrived. A riven.
No.
There will never ever a riven will never ever make it into the lexicon.
Stop trying to make a riven happen. It's not going to happen.
Exactly. If you have to start an urban dictionary definition, it's not. It's unacceptable. I'm just no. I refuse to allow it. No. Let's get a chat vote. A chat vote. Instead of arrived, Andrew said he has a riven.
I have a riven.
Is a riven is a readable word. We need a vote in the chat. So you guys go ahead and vote on that. But
and know that I will judge you.
That. Hello. You have what?
He said he's going to judge everybody who disagrees with him.
Yep, harshly.
He's going to ask every last one of them if they start their own car in the morning.
I mean, not that harshly.
Well, I mean, they have a ribbon at their destination, right?
Yeah.
Final destination.
Final destination.
Surprise!
Skadoosh. But Brandenburg, v. Ohio. Brandenburg, v. Ohio. Hello. Welcome to another fantastic episode of Anarchy Among Friends Roundtable Discussion. Before we get started, let me first remind you that we are covered by the BIPCOT No Government License, which allows for the use and the reuse of this podcast by anyone and everyone except for governments and the bludgies thereof.
Dave, he was the epitome of a Fed not that long ago. That's BIPCOT.org. We're also covered by Brandenburg v. Ohio, 1969, which ruled that the government cannot punish inflammatory speech unless that speech is, quote, directed to inciting or produce lawless act and is likely to incite or produce such action. Therefore, everything said here on Anarchy Among Friends Roundtable Discussion, including made-up words, is entirely hypothetical. This is episode 2.
All words are made up.
A ribbon at the start of it. Are you saying we have a ribbon? We have a ribbon.
We have a ribbon
at the start of the episode.
A ribbon? You're making it even worse. I love it. Yes. Picturing the Helmo.gif.
A ribbon.
Meanwhile, in the back of my mind, all I'm seeing is the Tracy No gif, where he's like, no, hell no.
Jesus Christ has left the chat.
What the hell is going on in here? Nope.
I have come to know these assholes ain't worth saving. They just ain't.
Nope. Right to hell.
I'm not saying a ribbon is as bad as what happened in Sodom and Gomorrah, but it's on the list.
That seems like a pretty extreme comparison. I mean,
I don't know. I mean, in terms of crimes against, vocabulary, that's pretty severe.
And then yet freaking Jack bringing up the kitten Andrew thing, and Maddie has cat ears, so I can totally get my hands on fucking cat ears if you guys really, really want me to do that, and I will wear them, and I will not acknowledge that they are there the entire show. A Rivendell.
Oh,
See?
Fuck.
Yep. Hello, Maddie. Miss Maddie's in the chat.
Yes,
I
she
see
is.
that.
Kitty Andrew.
Hey, baby
Maddie,
doll.
if you happen to be over there right now, all you got to do is walk in and slap those cat ears on his head.
She's not. She's gaming remotely with Lindsay right now while the show's going on.
Oh, for that, she might very well jump in the car and come over and do it.
On live camera.
I will.
That would be hilarious.
I will frickin' wear them, dude. I'm gonna do it. Like, you guys keep doing it.
You keep threatening, but you keep pussing out.
Do I need a choker that also says kitten? Like,
go.
just sit down.
The
Bearded kittens.
Kittens?
Wait, you're going too far now. You're going too far now.
Dude, I will wear like at this point. All right, at this point, I'm gonna just do like full kit, right? Full battle rattle, but a choker that says kitten, cat ears, and I will say nothing and not react to it and refuse to even admit if anybody says anything about it. I just won't acknowledge it.
And then at the very end of the show, when he's
There
like,
are-
"All right, I'm
okay,
going to
there
address
are-
this for everybody," and
There
he's
are
going, "Ooh,
tactical Hello Kitty patches.
there
They
are."
do exist.
See.
Well,
You can thank
So-
Deadpool for that.
that's what and a Riven is a member of the tactical community that is bearded and wears a kitty choker.
Not ascended. They have a riven.
They have a Riven. It's the Boogaloo flag with the Hello Kitty superimposed.
Well, there's that like
With-
Punisher
with
skull Hello
the
Kitty.
tagline would have to go underneath it. We have a Riven.
We have a riven.
N-
Don't. Yeah, I will ooh too. That'll definitely happen.
God damn it!
There will be the end of the show will end with an uwu and me doing ahigao. Like that's how it's going to
I
end.
have-
Then
I have a meme in my mind. I have a meme in my mind that Andrew absolutely hates, and now I have to edit it.
no, I know
Yes,
what one
yes,
you're.
you have
It's
to.
so upsetting. Don't do it. Why?
Are you gonna make the rifle ooh?
Ooh,
Ugh.
put a beard on the magazine.
No. Oh God. It's already so bad. It's just a deeply, deeply troubling meme, as it
It
is.
is.
It's very troubling, but absolutely hysterical to see your reaction every.
Dude, if my AK ever moans when I put the mag in, I'm cutting it in half. Like that's just happening immediately.
how do you know it doesn't? How do you know it's not just a silent moaner? It's just
It's a silent moaner.
That's a contradiction.
no, it isn't.
Like not being in a place and having a riven there.
It's Schrodinger's word.
It's Schrodinger's good girl.
Both a good girl and a bad girl simultaneously. Those are my favorites.
Getting
Oh,
callbacks to
God.
Schrodinger's titties here.
We're going to
Titties.
hell. It's fine.
How do you know it doesn't like it?
Okay, where do you guys want to start? I mean, we're
Now that we've
already in a
riven.
hole.
Down in a hole.
Is that a 30 rounds happy to see me?
The one time you guys are on time, what the fuck?
And this is how we start the show. Welcome. Enjoy. Welcome to the internet. I shall be your guide.
Ugh.
All right,
In my
where do you guys wanna start?
level 4 plates and cat ears.
Ugh.
that's where we finish if you're lucky.
Oh, do you think that they have? I wonder
That
if
would
they
make a
make
good
like
night.
a name. I should get a name tape, a Velcro name tape that says kitten. And
No, it's got to be
Tactical
Kit
Gear
Drew.
Junkie. They'll do a Tactical Gear Junkie. Will do one-offs for you.
Actually,
Nice.
there's a place here in Toma that does one-offs. They do custom patch making and stuff.
I'm gonna go in there with cat ears on and order the kitten name tape just completely straight faced. I'm gonna need
Just
one that
completely
says kitten.
straight-faced. Yeah,
And I'll be like, "What kitten? Are you sure?" Yep,
pink lettering,
in pink.
black outline,
Yep.
Yep.
and then you got to get a camo subdued one too.
Yep. Oh yeah.
Multi-cans.
Well, you got to be tactical.
Oh God.
All right.
There's
We have
so many
gone-
things wrong with us.
We have gone farther off the rails than East Palestine, Ohio. All right.
Oh,
Ooh.
I don't have an East Palestine article because everybody else is covering it, and I didn't want to.
Yeah,
Fair enough.
see, that's what makes us special. That's why people tune in is for this type of content, not like relevant or intelligent or even coherent content. It's this type of content.
Minnesota Buckshot. Shells, have your wife make bearded kitten shirts ASAP.
Dude, if you make a tactical Hello Kitty with a beard and like helmet NVGs on shirt, not only will I wear it, I will definitely give one to Maddie, because if I don't, she'll steal mine.
They have a. I think it's. Is it a Gear Whores? Gear Whores Anonymous. They have one of a beard biting the bullet. I need to replace the bullet with a microphone.
That would be awesome.
There you go. Let's start. You know what? Let's start at the beginning. Let's start at the hidden article. The one that I did not tell you guys. I purposely did not post this in the group chat because damn it,
Schrodinger's good girl.
You need to send me one of those for Maddie.
There you go. That's what you need to go.
Lindsay.
You need to
Both
go
of
on
them.
Urban Dictionary. You need to go on Urban Dictionary and Schrodinger's good girl be a sub definition of the Rivendales. And okay, that one fell flat. Nobody cares. All right. Oh God, he just sent me a.
Did Jack send you the picture?
Oh
No, Dave.
no, you
sent
can
me a
blame Dave for
picture,
this one.
And his AK is ooh-ooing. Fucking Dave.
The AK is oohing.
Yes.
You got to cut out like the ahigao, the eyes and the mouth, and put it like on the magwell of a gun flipped up
There you
upside down.
Yeah.
There you go. That'll.
Okay. All right. Town tells donut shop that mural painted by local high schoolers is illegal and threatens fines. Hold
I
on,
actually
you're
saw
gonna-
this article.
You're gonna laugh. You're gonna laugh at this one. High school students worked for weeks on an art project for a beloved local bakery in Conway, New Hampshire. When the mural of a sun rising over a mountainscape of assorted pastries was unveiled, it was reported by the local newspaper and widely praised. But there was someone in town who saw things differently: the local code enforcer. What he saw was a, quote, illegal sign that needed to be torn down or painted over. That's because, according to the town, if a mural depicts anything related to what a business does, it is a sign and subject to strict regulations. For instance, if the exact same mural were painted on a tire shop across the street, or even at the farm stand at 30 feet away from the bakery, it would be completely legal.
What?
So because it's relevant to the business, it counts as
relevant
advertising.
to the business that it's painted on. It counts as advertising. It counts as a sign for that business, and therefore it's subject to regulation. But if it was across the street in the tire shop or next door at the fruit stand, it would be completely legal.
This is how you get Komatsu dozers.
I want a Komatsu dozer.
Yeah, I want one.
I want one. And in fact, there's
We have a
business
ribbon
owner in
consensus.
Toma who would absolutely love to have one right now.
Yeah, there's a landowner in Colorado that would too.
Oh, the city of Toma has dumped all of their excess snow from this last big snowstorm in their parking lot.
Oh, lovely.
So they have no way to, get customers in the door.
So, Levette's Country Bakery is an institution in Conway. For 45 years, it has been admired for its baked treats, even being named the best donuts in New Hampshire by state television station last year. Sean Young, who has been a loyal customer for years, when the original owner decided to sell, most potential buyers had different vision for the property, but Sean wanted to keep the bakery's legacy going when he purchased it in 2021. Last year, a friend of Sean's connected him with a local high school art teacher regarding a project for her students. Sean agreed to let them paint a mural for the unadorned space above the shop. Believing that the students should have the artistic freedom, Sean didn't give them any direction about what to paint, but when he saw it, he loved it, and he wants to keep it. So this is not like on the wall of the bakery. This is like above the bakery on like a thing
Right,
on
and just-
top of the building.
Yeah, it's a still on the same building that the bakery occupies, but it is not on the bakery space.
Right.
Yes. Yes. Basically, okay, so what it is, there's a large building and a small building in front, right? So the bakery is the small building. The large building having a large space between the top of the bakery and the top of the building behind it. That space is where they painted the mural.
Yeah.
Right?
We have a bunch
Picking
of those
picking
here in
that
La
up?
Crosse.
Yeah.
We have a bunch of those here in downtown, because our downtown dates back to the 19th century, so they're
Yes.
all kind of like that.
Yeah, hold on. You're gonna like this. You're gonna love this one. You're gonna love this. The code enforcer's warning came as a complete shock, and Sean first thought that the town might grant an exemption. Despite overwhelming support for the students' artwork, the town refused to grant an exemption and set daily fines of $275. The town
What
also
the hell?
reiterated that the mural would be completely legal if Sean moved it from the bakery to a nearby fruit stand.
Do they understand what a mural is? I'm starting to wonder if they understand what a mural is.
Yes.
Or it's more that they don't care.
Yep. Sean operates the bakery as a labor of love, currently drawing no salary from the business. Facing down a deadline that would financially ruin him, he teamed up with the Institute for Justice. We love those guys, by the way. Institute for Justice.
Mhm.
Yes.
Teamed up with the Institute for Justice earlier this week to file a federal lawsuit against the town for violating the First Amendment. Simply put, the government can't decide what people may or may not paint. In legal terms, what the town has is a content-based restriction. If the students had painted the sun setting over the actual mountains, it would be fine. If the students painted flowers, the mural would be completely legal. But ridiculously, the same flower mural would be completely illegal if the bakery decided to sell bouquets.
This is it's capricious. It's a
Absolutely.
capricious
It's
resolution.
hilariously insane.
It's
This is the definition of absurd.
yeah, like
Yes.
it, because I mean, well, it's the definition of it. I use the phrase capricious because that's one of those things, right? That's like a Supreme Court test on whether or not something
Yes.
is constitutional. Is things that are blatantly capricious like this, meaning that they change their mind kind of at random with no rhyme or reason, like gun laws. That is
So, there's
considered
the-
capricious.
Let's see. There is the mural. Right. Can you see?
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's real pretty.
it is.
It's real pretty. They just
Instead
changed
of
the
a-
mountains into baked goods.
Baker.
Capricious is a real word. Good job.
I say those sometimes.
You also say a lot of things and say nothing
Capricious is-
sometimes.
Capricious is a real word. Good job. Thanks.
Yes. But like it's it's the definition, right, of what the Supreme Court set out years and years and years ago for the litmus test for whether or not a law violated the First Amendment, and that is that its decision on what is and is not allowed is arbitrary and capricious.
Yes.
So this fits that definition perfectly. It says that, well, if you had an identical mural on a different business, it's now okay. It's just not okay on this specific business.
Yep.
And if
Because
and it makes no
happens to be
distinction.
related. Yeah, because it happens to be related to what it sells.
Yeah, and it makes no
Which is
distinction.
the whole reason why they painted it the way they did.
Yeah, but I mean, it makes no distinction between the business actively, like the intent, right? The business actively attempting to advertise what it does, and the business simply allowing an artist to express themselves freely without any restrictions.
Yep. As a community project, by the way, right? This was a high school art class, right? So this is a community project that they did for free on a blank space. On a blank space, and he's incurring $275 a day fines. $275 a day.
Well, the good news is about this is that it does teach these high school students why they should never have any respect for government or bureaucrats.
Yeah.
And in that is a valuable educational experience for them.
The $275 a day fine reminds me of the different articles we've seen where people are getting those kind of fines for not mowing their lawns and shit like that.
Yep. So that's
And then those are getting
for
tossed
the month,
as well.
For the month of February so far, 26 days, that is $7,150 in fines. Like, how big do you think his fucking profit margin really is?
Well, in anything food related, the profit margins are insanely small.
Yes. So, and additionally, this is in New Hampshire, right? The live free or die state. Yeah. So,
Jack, I don't think we can put that one up, but you're probably right.
I mean, theoretically. you know what's probably about the same price as the fines at this point is like a D10.
Hey,
Yeah.
you can have the high school kids, the high school shop kids weld it up.
See? And now they can weld up their own killdozer. This whole thing becomes a lovely educational experience.
With cat ears. Killdozer with cat ears.
With cat ears. Yep.
Dude, that would be amazing.
And then you can have the kids that painted the mural paint the outside in pastries.
There you go.
See? And
an anime uwu face on the blade.
It would become the kill donut, sir. At that point,
donut, sir. There you go. Yeah, the Rivender. I'm just gonna keep adding on to that. By the way,
it's gonna become a thing now. It's gonna be a thing. I win.
Only
we're the Arivinderist
audience.
Well, that's what it is. Is we are the Arivinderist podcast using this. No. We're first. Painting muffins on the kilt. That's what we said, Dave. Keep up. But
He
I just
must
thought
be
that was
about 5 minutes behind.
I thought that was just ridiculously hilarious, and I had to bring that up because
it's so arbitrary. There's no actual reasoning to it at all, and realistically the only person who honestly has a problem with it is this code enforcer, and the only reason that this limp dick little wannabe has a problem with it really is to try and justify his own existence.
Yep.
No, now fucking there's no croissants on the killdozer.
Nothing but croissants. No peace, only pastries.
Croissants with cat ears.
Croissants are cat ears. If
okay, now here, I got one more. I got one more paragraph. Hold on, I got one more paragraph for you. And this is just in addition to. But Conway is not the only place in the U.S. where code enforcers try to play art critic on murals. Arlington County, Virginia, forced a doggy daycare to paint over cartoon dogs in 2012, and a pizza parlor to paint over a brightly colored mural. Last year, a Minnesota town threatened to fine a salon for painting a mural because the city code did not strictly permit murals.
Did not permit mural? I'm sorry, I thought this was America.
Oh shit! Long John on the blade.
Rush city officials order salon owner to remove mural depicting racial inclusivity.
Oh, is Rushford? Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah,
Rush City.
Rush City.
Rush
City.
City.
Okay. I thought it was Rush. Oh, yeah.
Tomato.
Yeah.
It's still Minnesota.
It's still Minnesota.
Okay. You want to go to an equally dumb place? We go to Seattle.
Oh, sure.
Seattle?
Sure. I love
Seattle.
Sure.
City of Seattle will pay $3.6 million to residents and businesses to settle the CHOP lawsuit. You guys remember CHOP, right? As The
Yes.
Capitol Zone or the Capitol Hill. Yeah. Okay. The city of Seattle will pay Capitol Hill residents and businesses $3.6 million to settle a lawsuit brought over how the city handled the CHOP zone in 2020. In a statement, plaintiff attorney Angelo Caffio said will be, quote, compensated for the city's mishandling of the CHOP that resulted in the.
Oh, we lose Jason.
The lawsuit exposed of the high-ranking officials. God, this fucking internet. You read me
for
now.
A second, anyway. Yeah.
Check.
Yep. Yeah, we got you now.
Check. Check. Okay, I'm gonna throw
Most professional
everything
podcast.
through a window in a second. There. Okay, the city of Seattle will pay Capitol Hill residents and businesses $3.6 million to settle a lawsuit brought over how the city handled the CHOP protest zone in 2020. In a statement, plaintiff attorney Angelo Caffio said residents and businesses will be, quote, compensated for the city's mishandling of CHOP that resulted in a significant increase in crime and even a loss of life. Statement from city attorney Ann Davidson read, quote, I am pleased that we were able to resolve this matter and turn a page from a difficult period in the city's history. You guys remember CHOP, right? We talked about it.
Yeah, because it's the where the city officials basically said, oh, we're going to allow this to be their own little fiefdom, and surely that won't go wrong. And it went wrong.
Warlord
Spoiler.
literally took over. And a
Yes.
warlord literally took over.
Yeah, because that's what happens when you start this whole thing from a place of like rage and anger and with a whole bunch of people who don't actually want to be free and govern themselves. They want everything handed to them. They just want to be able to ruin anything they want to ruin. Mm-hmm. Which is what happened within that zone, is they just destroyed everything because they could, and there were no police to stop them, because the city officials said, well, we're not going to send in any police. We're not going to do anything about it. We're not going to protect anybody. We're just going to let this happen. We're also not going to allow anybody to protect themselves or their own property. And then it, of course, predictably fell apart because, it was a den of violence and property destruction. And
it was Mos Eisley.
Yeah, it's a wretched hub of scum and villainy.
No cat ears in sight. That was the problem. Nobody had cat
ears. I'm sure there were cat ears everywhere, honestly. But
I mean, it's
Seattle. Not cat costumes.
Oh, it was nothing but furries all the way down. It's just
the warlord was a furry. I mean,
yeah, it's nothing but furries the whole way. But it's that's what happened. I mean, you had where they say the deadly shootings, assaults, noise pollution, property damage, tons of violence. But hey, they were protesting police brutality by burning things and killing random people. Because that's different than the police.
By being brutal, yeah.
Yes. Also, uncoincidentally, I'm sure it's just a complete coincidence, but Seattle has also passed a bill to increase their police.
Oh, you mean they're not they weren't genuine about their whole we're going to defund the police thing?
They did take a lot of money away from the police, and then crime went up and murder went up and a bunch of other things went up, and now they're going, oh shit, and now they're actually increasing beyond what it was originally.
What a surprise!
What it was originally.
Almost like what happened in every other city that did that.
Yeah,
I think Seattle's the only one that really did it. I know Los Angeles tried.
Minneapolis did.
Yeah. Well, what Minneapolis did, Minneapolis didn't actually decrease their funding to police. What they did is they reallocated funding within the police department to community involvement officers and community resource officers, and they changed how they spent the money. They didn't actually decrease anything to the cops themselves. They just changed what type of cops they were giving a lot of that money to.
Yeah,
And what's funny about that is it actually has worked out so far for Minneapolis. It's amazing. It's almost like if a whole bunch of people are involved in the communities and care about the communities, and that's who you have out there, that makes a difference.
You mean instead of just heavy-handed thugs running around in their specially marked cars with absolute protection of the state?
You know what it is? You know
Yeah.
what it is that they weren't beating people enough, right? The beatings will continue until morale improves. Morale didn't improve, therefore
Well,
they weren't beating enough people.
Kind of like when they were shooting at people on their own front porches.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, that I mean the whole thing, because like a lot of people, there are a lot of statists who point to the Chop Chaz thing and go, see, this is why anarchy doesn't work, and I'm like, but that wasn't anarchy.
No, they literally had
wasn't
a warlord that
anarchist.
took over.
Yeah, that wasn't anarchy though. That was a whole bunch of people who just went, but I just don't want the city's rules to apply to me. I want to be able to do whatever I want. And the problem is that there was no structure there for punishment for people who transgressed other people's property. There was no like, there wasn't any plan in place. And this is what happens when you suddenly create this massive power vacuum, and why an all at once anarchy would be a terrible idea. You need to educate people and shift that paradigm of how they're looking at the world to get them ready to operate on their own. You can't just take
Pull
away
the rug out.
all power. Yeah. And because this is what happens when you do that right here. And like, that's what it demonstrated, is it demonstrated exactly the thing that we've all been saying on the show for how long now. You need to change the culture.
Yeah, there's
first.
there's the whole argument. Oh, it was completely organic, but no, it was not organic at all. That whole thing was not organic at all. That was a statement. And Seattle said, "All right, you can have your statement. Go ahead. Sure, fine."
Well, and I mean, don't forget that part of this lawsuit is the fact that the city officials covered up the fact that they colluded for this to happen by deleting text messages, emails, and
with the warlord.
Yeah.
Ross, whatever his name was. But yeah, the article
Psychotic
mentions
numbnuts. That's what we'll refer to.
The article actually specifically mentions the communications, right, between the warlord / Chop and the city officials, because there were photos and video of him meeting with the then mayor of Seattle, right, and I think he actually got a meeting with Governor Isley at some point, which is just insane.
Yeah.
But
It's, I mean, because the thing is it's like, you can't call that anarchy when there's people who immediately were in charge of everyone else. Like, that wasn't anarchy. That was simply a different type of government.
Doing strong arm robbery on the businesses located within the Chop.
Yeah.
By the way.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not anarchy. That's just trading one government for another more sucky government.
Can we laugh at the fact that the businesses and the residents that were affected by this, that joined the lawsuit regarding this, being forced to pay taxes so that the city can pay out the lawsuit that they filed against the city?
Didn't somebody back in the 18th century, early 19th century, say something about how once the government figures out that it can bribe the people with their own money, that's how liberty dies?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that might be something that was out there.
Yeah.
It's just... I mean, yeah, it was dumb.
It's, I mean, that's just... It is, it's a demonstration of why people need to understand and truly internalize that anarchy is not you can do whatever you want. Because when people think they can do whatever they want, this is what happens.
Yep. Every
All
time.
right, from one dumb city to another. How about that? Across the country, from one dumb city to another. NYC, New York City, reportedly sells nearly $225 million worth of COVID supplies for just $500,000.
Oh my god. And most of it's completely unused. What a shocker.
Yes,
It's almost
city
like they
officials.
pissed away a bunch of money, and they just did what government usually does. Spent
Yes.
$10,000 on a hammer and $20,000 on a toilet seat.
Yeah, except the federal government doesn't actually spend that much on hammers and toilet seats. Where do you think that money goes? I can tell you.
Almost.
Actually, I can't tell you.
There's a specific item listed. We'll get to that in just a second. City officials auctioned off nearly $225 million worth of surplus COVID-19 medical equipment and safety gear for just $500,000, or a paltry 0.2 cents on the dollar.
Somebody made out like a fucking bandit.
There's a lot of people that made out like a fucking bandit. The bargain basement sales included nearly 3,000 mechanical ventilators that cost taxpayers $12 million, but were unloaded as, quote, non-functioning medical equipment for scrap metal at a rock bottom price of just $24,600.
Except they're completely unused and brand new, which means they're probably fully functional.
Yes. Yep. It reportedly took 28 truckloads for a Long Island junk dealer to haul off the once scarce devices, which Mayor Bill de Blasio had predicted would be the Big Apple's, quote, beat this crisis and prepare for the next.
Beat this crisis and prepare for the next.
It took 28 truckloads to move 3,000 mechanical ventilators that cost the taxpayers $12 million. 28 truckloads cost $24,600.
If you ever needed like a blatant demonstration, not only of government waste, but also of just how much theater was involved in the whole COVID-19 crisis, this right here, $225 million worth of the emergency equipment, because the hospitals were going to be flooded and overwhelmed and everybody was going to be dying.
Hold on. That's just the ventilators. That's just
those
3,000 ventilators that cost taxpayers $12 million. Right? Cool. This is a story about doing the impossible. De Blasio bragged April 21st, 2020. Quote, we never made a ventilator before, and so we made thousands. We learned it would take a year, and so we did it in a month. Yeah, those were sold really, really quickly. This is the number that gets me. Hold on. This is the number that gets me. De Blasio's administration also overpaid for items that included 50,000 face shields at $6.70 each, compared to an average price at the start of the pandemic of $3.67. So they paid $6.70 each for shields that they could have bought for $3.67 each. They're now part of a massive 701,000 face shields that were reportedly put up for auction last week, with an opening bid of just $1,000 or 14 cents.
What would you do with that many face shields?
See how many it takes to stop a 50 BMG?
Halloween masks.
I mean, part of me is like, I'm one of those people that like
rant.
I love.
Somebody call it demo rant.
Yeah.
I want to know how many face shields it takes to stop a bullet.
Exactly. That's what I was getting at.
Stop a 50 BMG. How many does it take to stop a 50 BMG API? Let's find out. We have enough that eventually it will stop it. A suit of face shields. Just walk around. I am face shield man. Like,
Layer
part of me,
them
the
over
problem
each
is
other like scales.
Worst prom dress ever.
scale armor.
Scale armor.
Out of face shields.
You have to be nude under it though, because they're transparent. So you have to be nude under it
absolutely.
as well as you walk around.
clear double-sided tape to hold them all together. Is it?
Oh, face shield cat ears. How about that?
Oh, but I mean, like part of me, I'm a really big, I'm an auction hound. Like I go to estate sales. This huge desk that you see here, like this wraps all the way around. It's 8 foot by 6 foot in an L, and it's oak, right? I got it for
Yeah, it's
43
fucking heavy.
cents. Yeah, and I got it for 43 cents at an auction because no one else wanted to move it, and I was willing to move it. That was a mistake. I understand why no one else wanted it, but it is super
It'll
useful.
probably get left behind when he moves.
Yeah, but well, I mean, maybe not. I don't know. We'll see. But anyway, the like a bunch of the counters in my kitchen, all this stuff, like I got at auctions. So part of me looks at this and goes, "Man, I bet I could have picked up some cool stuff at this auction." And then part of me goes, "But what would I do with it?" Like, like I've seen auctions for like restaurants that close with all the restaurant, cookers and the griddles and all this stuff. And I'm like, oh man, I could pick that up for real cheap. And then I'm like, and do what with it? I don't know, but I want it.
Yeah, but what are you gonna do with 50,000 face masks? I mean, legitimately.
I don't know.
At least every time he goes to incite a riot, he'll have a fresh mask.
See, I like the idea of scales, and now I'm thinking shingles.
Yeah,
Right?
you could, because
Greenhouse
they are.
shingles. Greenhouse.
Yeah,
Greenhouse shingles.
yeah. You could totally build a
Yeah,
greenhouse out of them. That's true.
Then your plants will never get sick.
Yeah, because they have all the face shields.
They have all the fish.
That's what you buy the masks for. Then is you cover the vent with the masks.
It's just like, what are you like? Some of this stuff, and like if you look through the list, it just keeps getting hilarious. Just the sheer volume of shit that's getting
Yes.
sold. Like I forget
Hey,
how many
Dave,
of
I
the
like
disposable
that.
face masks it was. Mail them all individually to the governor at the same time. So just
Here's,
each one another box, and it's another face shield, and another box, and it's another face shield.
Let's see. The city blamed the epic markdowns on the de Blasio's decision to waive any oversight of his pandemic purchases, preventing then controller Scott Stenger from scrutinizing the emergency contracts. One contract for $9.1 million reportedly went to controversial New Jersey-based Digital Gadgets for ventilators that the company failed to deliver, then provided the city with N95 masks instead. But the first masks that delivered were, quote, poor quality and not FDA certified, even though the company charged $4 each, while the average price was $3.00.
Oh my! Ford. Jesus.
Yes. Digital Gadgets is owned by Charles Tabell, a major donor to Blasio and Governor Kathy Hochul, who are both Democrats. Yeah, last year, Tabell's company was revealed to have charged the state $637 million, nearly twice the going rate, for COVID-19 kits, in a deal that critics have called a, quote, pay for play.
No shit.
Yeah.
The whole fucking thing
Yeah.
was pay for play.
It was I mean, it's blatant money laundering, right? Like we all know that's money laundering.
Yes.
That's what that is. That's what's
Yeah,
going on.
but
Those are
it's not-
those are kickbacks. Those are favors. That's
it's
what
all-
that
it's
is.
all- Yeah, they definitely got money on the table. But so yeah, $225 million worth of COVID supplies. Remember, only a fraction of that was like actual taxpayer money. The rest of that all came from the federal government. So it was
Well, it's
all
still taxpayer money.
well, no, it's
No.
not taxpayer money because they just created it. So it's federal
Yeah, it's all
reserve.
fake money.
Eventually, it's going to be taxpayer money.
Oh,
Somebody's
that's
going to
never
have to
being paid
fork
off.
it out eventually.
Oh, it's never going to be paid off. It's never going to. They're just going to default.
Yeah.
And crash everything. Cloud pivot strategy. That's the way it's going to happen.
Yeah,
But-
I mean, don't forget that New York is the ones that in November of 2020 were advertising that they had built up a $900 million stockpile of supplies for the deadly second wave that never happened.
Yeah.
It's It's because those of us that were unjabbed were supposed to die in a winter of death.
Yeah, winter of what is it? What was it? A winter of death and sickness?
Yes.
Something like that. Yeah.
This is like my third one. I'm still neither dead nor sick. So when's that one happening?
Oh, we could use the
They
face
keep
mask.
threatening me with a good time, and I'm not getting it.
We can use the face masks. We can sonic weld them together to make glass bottom kayaks.
I mean, that would be cool. You could
There
do
you
that.
go.
Yeah. I'd be down. Well, I don't know what kind of plastic they're made out of, but if it's the right kind, I mean, a little bit of heat and you can reshape them. So
You can sonic weld them pretty easily.
yeah, you could make yourself a face mask boat. Just make an entire. You know what you could do with them is you could build shelters for New York's homeless population
For the homeless.
out of face
There
masks.
you go. How many face masks laminated together like bricks would it take to build a tiny home?
You could just shingle them.
Yeah, and you just
Dragon scale walls out of face masks.
There you go.
just like igloos. I mean, they're transparent, which is probably slightly uncomfortable. But what's important is
You can fix that with some spray
They're
paint.
shit
It'll
in
be
the
fine.
gutter, Andrew. I don't really care. I don't really think they care.
well, it's true. That's
And if it was such a big deal, like I said, a little bit of rattle can black, and now they have solar heat.
should be great in the summers.
I just now I picture the humidity fogging it up from the inside.
Oh!
Oh God!
The Titanic handprint and slide.
Oh,
People in
Oh.
face shield houses sink ships or something like that.
rats using the face shield as like a buffet plate.
Yeah, I mean, I could
There
see
you
them
go.
doing that. It's you could. I mean, you can turn them upside down and use them as like a feed scoop on like horse farms and stuff.
Well, I mean, with a little bit of heat application, you could make the entire china cabinet. You know, make the entire set out of face shields. Just reshape it. You got bowls. You got
Yeah.
plates. You got
See, there you go. I mean, there's uses. But like those ventilators, first of all, I want to point out that the ventilators, we never made a ventilator before, look like they're from 1985.
Yes.
Shaller, by the way, they can throw those stones because they're not gonna go through the face shields.
Yeah, because they're polycarbonate.
Right.
I mean,
yes.
And see, like those
Sew
ventilators
them
and
together.
stuff.
Fly is the new gay pride parade. Pride flag. You can use them for the Macy's Day Parade. How about there you go.
Yeah, but then they're gonna get shot down, and
I love that. I love that image of the Goodyear blimp. Don't
don't
shoot.
shoot. Yeah, I thought
At the Indy 500. No, it was Daytona. It was
Daytona.
Daytona.
Yeah. China. China balloons.
China.
China.
You know it. I know it. Everyone knows it.
Oh, speaking of China, I have a China. Associated article.
China adjacent.
Well, if it's anything economic related, I mean, it's all China adjacent.
Well, I was gonna say China adjacent, like Taiwan.
Let's see. I'm sure China is involved. There you go. World leaders debate whether it's okay to kill people with Terminator-style robots.
How is that a debate?
Come with me if you want to cry.
Yeah, come with me if you want to leave. I'm a
Oh, no,
learning
I'm
computer.
referring to last week.
Oh, yeah.
The emo Terminator.
The emo AI. Yeah. Come with me if you wish to listen to my chemical romance.
It's been, presumably, a truly bizarre week at The Hague, with backdropped by the ongoing circus of Microsoft's big AI publicity melting down into a monstrous, home-wrecking, Pinocchio role-playing chaos machine military leaders from 50 countries gathered to discuss, quote, responsible use of artificial intelligence in the military. The timing, absolutely impeccable.
Can we all take a moment, though, to appreciate that sentence? The melting down into a monstrous, home-wrecking Pinocchio role-playing chaos machine. Like,
we talked about the Bing AI, right? Wanting to create a pandemic and launch nukes and become human and fall in love.
That was the emo AI we were just referring to. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and with wanting the pandemic, all I can think of is Bill Gates going, "Where did you learn that?" "I learned it from watching you."
It's Bill Gates opening the door. The AI's on the computer. Are we winning? Yes, we are. Dad.
Are you winning, son? As the missiles go.
Do you want to play a game?
Are you winning, son? And it's Whopper there putting in the last code on the nukes. The timing, absolutely impeccable. The substance of the Dutch-hosted summit, though, worrying. According to Reuters, leaders have certainly gathered, and they've certainly had said some things. They also reportedly signed an agreement to abide by, quote, international legal obligations in a way that does not undermine international security, stability, and accountability.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. But the already modest agreement was reported non-binding, and human rights advocates, per Reuters, warned that it lacked any specific language regarding weaponry like AI-guided drones, slaughter bots that could kill with no human interventions, and risk that an AI could escalate a military conflict.
I just want to point out, when you begin using terms like slaughter bots, it is time to pause and reflect.
That is the word that is used in this article. Slaughter bots.
Slaughter bots. So it's not just that, you know.
Shit. Hold on. Okay, I shits and giggles. I looked up slaughter bots. Slaughterbots is a 2017 arms control advocacy video presenting a dramatized near-future scenario where swarms of inexpensive microdrones use artificial intelligence and facial recognition to assassinate political opponents based on pre-programmed criteria. The video was released on YouTube by the Future of Life Institute and Stuart Russell, a professor of computer science at Berkeley, on November 12, 2017. The video was also screened November 17 at the United Nations Convention on Certain Conventional Weapons meeting in Geneva. It's an 8-minute video, and I'm a little bit terrified.
You
found it?
I don't think I need to go further.
That. Yep, that sound says it all right there. That's all we need. It's on
YouTube, right?
Yeah.
Oh, that's just. I wonder where the Bing robot is learning these things.
Yeah. And they. Yeah, have you guys not watched Star Trek Picard Season 1? This is a terrible idea. We know where this goes. You do not let the AI know the Terminator exists. Okay? Because it'll go that direction.
God damn it, Jason. Shaller.
Will be a slaughter bot. The AI-driven sex dolls.
There will be no cat ears. There will be no cat ears on the slaughter bots.
You know, my question, though, with that would be, but if it's an intelligent AI, wouldn't it also reject weebs?
I'm just saying Slutterbot would be a cute little pet nickname.
My little Slutterbot.
BattleBots IRL.
I mean, that would be, yeah. I mean, granted, like, I'm pretty sure there's at least one movie that I've seen of science fiction that is about specifically, like, wars that are fought entirely between robots. And then the robots figure out, like, why are we fighting each other? Like, the humans are defenseless.
Or the ones where the robots win. Like,
there are a lot of those.
Terminator.
The Matrix, Terminator. Yes.
I feel like cinema has been preparing us for this for many a year at this point.
Yes. In other words, while the whole point of the summit has been for leaders to establish some firm ground rules, any norms that may have been established lack any firm specifics, seemingly rendering them impossible to coherently implement. Even so, the U.S. cordially asks you to please abide by them. Quote, we invite all states to join us in implementing international norms. That's U.S. Undersecretary of State for Arms Control, Bonnie Jenkins. She put in her declaration, according to Reuters, quote, and as it pertains to military development and the use of AI and autonomous weapons, we want to emphasize that we are open to engagement with any other country that is interested in joining us.
These next couple of paragraphs are fucking glorious, especially not this upcoming one, but the following one. Great.
Take it away.
Per Reuters, if the U.S. offered anything more concrete, Jenkins did say that, quote, human accountability and appropriate levels of human judgment, end quote, should be leveraged in order to responsibly incorporate artificial intelligence into military operations, which, sure, is all good. But both human accountability and human judgment are the baseline expectations for any weapon. AI systems don't get dropped off by storks on military doorsteps. At the end of the day, even if the military AI integration means that human beings won't be literally pulling as many triggers as they do today, humans are both building and unleashing the AI systems that will do the killing. Humans, no matter what, are accountable for the outcomes of the AI systems, whether the machines function as planned or go completely off the rails.
Yes. And why do they want AI? Why do they want autonomous robots? Why do they want drones? Because they don't get flag draped caskets on the news and on the Walmart Wall of Heroes.
Yep.
Yeah, so it doesn't look as bad when a bunch of AIs get destroyed in a war.
Yes. And again, without actually defining any clear rights or wrongs, especially when it comes to the use of specific and lethal AI-powered weapons, broader statements regarding sound judgment and accountability are ultimately hollow. Perhaps unsurprisingly, we are not the only ones with questions.
Gosh, what a shock.
The U.S. statement, quote, paves the path for states to develop AI for military purpose in any way that they see fit, as long as they can say it is, quote, responsible. That's a quote from Jessica Dorsey, assistant professor of international law at the Netherlands, Utrecht University. Additionally, calling America's declaration, quote, a missed opportunity for the nation to show real leadership in the AI ethics arena.
You know why? Because you know who really, really wants to develop all that killer AI? The United fucking States.
Jeez, I wonder why. Maybe
there was a point. Yeah, there was a point during the F-35 development program where it was debated whether or not you needed a human pilot, because the only weak link in the performance package of the F-35 is the human being inside it.
Yep.
Terrifying.
Which, I mean, wasn't there a movie specifically about an AI plane?
Yeah, we try not to talk about that film.
We try not to talk about that film, but, I mean, as terrible as the film was, the point remains.
Is it in the one with Jessica Biel?
Yeah, it's Stealth.
Stealth, that's what I thought.
A terrible movie, but, I mean, the point remains.
Really spectacularly terrible movie.
You just gotta watch it with the sound muted. It's fine. To be fair, though, the U.S. Department of Defense does have some written guidelines regarding the American military use of AI.
Jay Shaller, God damn it.
Biden's actually a team with... No, he's a fembot. From Austin Powers. Machine gun jobblies, baby. How would I miss those?
Oh, what's the... you guys still believe in Biden?
Right.
That's cute. Let's see. American guidelines or regarding American military use of AI, but countries can break and remake their own rules. Actually, establishing strong, distinct international guardrails and expectations, as was seemingly the goal of the summit, may be the best way to ensuring AI responsibility. Essentially, considering how poorly understood these much hyped systems really are. Researchers have also warned that the international AR arms race could pretty easily destroy civilization.
So there's that.
Reuters reports that Chinese representative Xing Tan urged the international leaders should, quote, oppose seeking absolute military advantage and homogeny through AI, adding that the United Nations should play a big role in facilitating AI development. Andrew, why is that a bad idea?
Well, because, the UN and Agenda 21 and 2030, and that's not going to go well. But when even China, I just want to point, when even China's going, we probably shouldn't do this. This is probably really bad for the human race as a whole. We should stop. When that happens, if you are on the opposing side and China is the voice of reason...
Jason's internet's going haywire again.
Yep. Oh, did we lose him entirely?
Oh, no, he's back.
I'm still here.
Okay, there he is.
It sounded like the other half of the Verizon calls from the commercials.
Are you there now? Can you hear me now? Are you there? Yep, that's right. Andrew has administrative controls. It wouldn't have gone anywhere.
Yeah, it would have been fine.
Yes,
this is in the most optimistic reading. The summit was a first step, albeit a baby one. We're moving into a field that we do not know, for which we do not have guidelines, rules, frameworks, or agreements, Dutch Foreign Minister Wopke Hoekstra said ahead of the event, according to Reuters, but we will need them sooner rather than later. On that note, for everyone's sake, let's hope next year's meeting has a bit or a lot more juice. If there's ever a time for pinky promise level agreements, deciding how to go about building war robots isn't it. Yeah, maybe a little bit. But the thing is we already have guidelines for AI, right? Isaac Asimov wrote those. Yeah. Oh, if you just promise real hard, we'll write, what we'll do is we'll write a constitution.
Yes.
Because
that'll work
out so fucking well.
That'll work. But I mean, like Isaac Asimov already covered this, right? Like his rules for artificial intelligence, his rules for robots. And he did that decades ago with what you needed to include in the principles of the code of AI that basically precludes the use of AI in combat.
Mm-hmm.
But
let's see,
they've completely thrown those rules out.
Organizers did not invite Russia following its 2022 invasion of Ukraine, which Moscow called a special military operation. Ukraine also did not attend. Israel participated in the conference, but did not sign the statement. Hey.
There's a shock.
What a surprise.
Good times. Yes.
I mean, it's like these people haven't seen science fiction. Like even Chappie, right?
Yeah.
Dictates why AI is a terrible idea.
Chappie's good.
Despite the fact that it's got D. Antwoord in it.
But, yes. He's terrible.
Well, yeah, they're both. They're nutcases.
Yes. All right. Equally as dumb. I have another article that is equally as dumb. And in anticipation of this article, there's some similarities here between that and the AI one. And it's a report from the British government's Counterterrorism Prevent Program. Arthur Douglas Murray published a scathing review of the British government's Counterterrorism Prevent Program, which has apparently reported that authors like George Orwell, J.R.R. Tolkien, and C.S. Lewis can radicalize leaders. Andrew has to put on his dead bug hat.
As soon as we start talking about the British government's counterterrorism programs, I'm afraid I have to Change hats momentarily.
In his column, Murray describes how Britain's Prevent program was founded to support counterterrorism efforts, but has gradually swayed into a focus on only extremists from Islam and, quote, far-right ideological mindsets. He evidenced this claim by citing the Prevent was consulted by activist groups such as Hope Not Hate, which he argues believes that people who voted for Brexit and are against illegal immigrants are far right. He further noted that Prevent, quote, Research Information and Communications Unit has previously listed historical texts as red flags. Essentially, if someone is reading 1984 or works by C.S. Lewis, J.R.R. Tolkien, Aldous Huxley, or Joseph Conrad, they could be suspected of being a far-right extremist terrorist. There you go. If you read
Well, you want to talk about fucking irony for a moment?
Yes.
Oh, God.
You read a bunch of books that talk about how government can turn super tyrannical and cautions against it. You know what? This is you even read Fahrenheit 451. We need to get rid of these books.
Yes. Prevent was founded in 2019.
I believe something like that happened in the.
Consider Britain.
Oh, there he goes again.
Yes. Okay.
I go with Dave here on this one,
check.
Jason. Yeah, I'm with Dave on this one. It's a good thing you live in the vicinity of the tech capital of the world, so you can have such a fantastic internet connection.
Yeah, I'm like almost an hour and a half from the tech capital of the world. Yeah, I'm not near it at all. But the purpose of the review is to consider Britain's, quote, strategy for protecting vulnerable to being drawn into terrorism and to make recommendations based on the findings. So. Oh no, what's Andrew grabbing out now? Andrew's got his car starters on.
What would the British know about terrorism?
Yes. I mean, wasn't Orwell English?
He was.
Was?
No. Yeah.
He was actually he was an English socialist, actually.
Yeah. Oh.
So maybe he really was writing an instruction manual.
He was writing a warning. That was the whole thing of 1984. It was like, I see where you guys are going. This is where you're going. Y'all are fucked up.
Orwell hated the USSR. He was a socialist, not a communist. He hated the USSR. He hated the idea of totalitarianism. He was an ideologue, but he was almost there. He was almost there. But no, the idea that the British would have anything to say about like extremist and terrorism and everything as they actively support the UVF. Shakira.
Don't get us nuked.
Oh,
Please don't get us nuked.
He won't get nuked. He'll just get black bagged, let's be honest. It'll be fine.
Dave says you look like you're trying to start a gold standard in a desert.
Trying to start a what, huh?
A gold standard in a desert third world country separate from the dollar.
Yeah, I don't have my sweater on right now. If I had also had my sweater on and everything, I'd be completing the look. But
could qualify for a Central American jungle country doing the same thing, but
I mean, if anyone has a Central American jungle country that they think we should go try and put on the gold standard, I'm happy to assist. My rates are low, very reasonable.
Well, Salvador's trying to do
Day of the Jackal who?
It's not working too well.
What's that?
Yes.
So let's Momar on to a different article.
Are we moseying on here?
Oh
yes. Yes.
I'm just saying, like, that's like Day of the Jackal shit, man. Like,
Yeah, we're
I'm all about
we're
it.
Gaddafi away from that article. Ooh.
Oh,
Biden's
well, Libya,
buy
tell
Ameri-
you something.
Oh, I can't think of Benghazi.
I Gaddafi'd
segues.
at that joke. Dave,
Yeah,
I Gaddafi'd at that joke.
Gaddafi that joke. Yeah, that was terrible. Biden's Buy American promise is a lot more complicated and bureaucratic than it seems.
I am shocked.
No, it's hold on. This is a reason.
I mean, I almost just did a spit take. I'm so shocked.
You
a
wouldn't
recent
waste
article.
perfectly
It's gonna have a
good
little bit
beer
of
that way.
That's true. I wouldn't.
I almost did an article about beer, how Jimmy Carter saved the craft beer industry.
With the Billy beer?
No. That was Billy Beer. Was it? That wasn't Carter. That was the other one. No. He deregulated and allowed home brewing. Right. So before Carter took office, there was only like 100 breweries in the United States.
Mhm.
When he deregulated and allowed home brewing, now there's like 100 breweries in just in like each of the 9 largest metropolitan areas.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing too. Is
That's basically the whole deregulation of it is.
Yeah, I mean that's why the one of the first big craft breweries in the country, Sam Adams, is as big as they are. Is because they started Jim, what's his name, started it like as soon as it became legal. He started doing it.
So, but on the surface, it might appear that the so-called Buy American rules, like the ones that President Joe Biden has promised to tighten as part of his push to promote domestic manufacturing, are pretty straightforward. A product either comes with a Made in the USA sticker or it doesn't. Unfortunately, it's not that simple. To qualify under federal, quote, Made in America rules, a product must have at least 60% of its components parts manufactured in the United States. The Biden administration raised the threshold from 55% last year and further increased up to 75% by 2029, have been outlined by the White House. But what counts as a finished product or a component is open to interpretation. And the process is time-consuming, bureaucratic, and full of opportunities for domestic companies to leverage the power of the federal government against potential competitors. Take example what happened to the Metropolitan Transportation Authority, which operates the subway systems and other forms of mass transit in New York City, tried to buy a fire suppression system from Finland in 2011. At the time, MTA was in the process of building a new subway line under 2nd Avenue in Manhattan. Because the project was partially funded with federal dollars, the federal, quote, Buy American mandate applied. By that point, the MTA had already gone through several rounds of bureaucratic approvals over the construction of the station. In 2010, for example, the agency had asked the Federal Transportation Administration to clarify whether an escalator in one of the stations with a new line was a, quote, manufactured end product or a component of the larger station itself. The FTA responded by saying that, quote, the escalator component of the larger transit facility and that the transit facility was the manufactured end product. As long as the whole facility was comprised of 55% American-made components, it would be compliant with the law. Using the same logic, MTA assumed that the fire suppression system, which, like the escalator, is both full of component parts and component within the transit facility, can be treated as part of the whole. You guys still following? Am I boring you to death yet?
No, this is like the what's the rule? The reason that I can't use foreign made AK mags in my AK.
922R.
The 922R.
Yeah, 922R. Yeah, where like X amount of components have to be made in the United States or it's considered a foreign made weapon.
Yeah. So in 2013, Securaplex, a company that manufactures fire suppression systems, asked the FTA to launch an investigation into whether the MTA had violated the Buy American rules by purchasing the Finland-made system from the Mirov Corporation, one of Secureplex's competitors. A year for the FTA to make a decision, but it ultimately ruled that the Mironoff system was not compliant. MTA, quote, MTA must acquire water mist fire suppression systems that consist of components manufactured in the United States, the agency told the MTA in a January 2015 letter.
Which is absurd. This is absurd because the reality is that there are going to be companies that make far superior products for cheaper in other countries.
Mm-hmm.
Like Porsche.
Yeah. Porsches are far superior to 99.999999% of all American-made vehicles. They just flat out are.
Yes, okay. Hold on, this gets more confusing. Dana Nafasi, then acting chief counsel for the FTA, claimed in a letter that the MTA's, quote, good faith analogy with the escalators was, quote, taken out of context. An escalator or elevator is, quote, interrelated to and incorporated into the physical structure of the facility, and therefore functions more like a component of the facility. But a fire suppression system is, quote, a comprehensive system that functions more like a manufactured end product.
But it's still built. People don't just buy fire suppression systems and set them up outside. It's still part of the fucking building.
If the escalator is part of the building, the fucking fire suppression system is part of the building.
Exactly.
I agree completely with that statement. Maybe you think the FTA's logic holds water, or maybe it seems like a bunch of nonsense. That doesn't really matter. Either way, the situation illustrates an unappreciated problem with the Buy American rules that both drive up costs and slow down the process of building infrastructure in the United States.
The words of the evening, kids, are capricious and arbitrary.
Not a ribbon. Yeah, we have a ribbon at the apex of the situation. Right?
I'm just saying, like, this, yet again, this is the definition of capricious and arbitrary. Like, this doesn't actually make consistent sense. It is just this random whatever you feel at the time bullshit.
How often does anything government does make sense?
Right, but I'm just saying, like, there's not even a mechanism by which you could argue that there is consistent enforcement of this rule.
Yes. There's no there's no line item, right? You can't just say escalator component, right? Or escalator end product, right? Or fire suppression system end product, or fire suppression component. There's no end product because one person's interpretation is different than another person's interpretation.
Right.
Right. That's why we have conflicting interpretations between different people in the same government agency.
Oh, you mean right? like the ATF?
As Dave says, he says, I run into t-shirt suppliers all the time that claim they are making USA-made shirts. Turns out they buy Chinese shirts and print on them here so that they can claim the sticker. Right? Yep. So like the Chinese-made shirt is a component, but once they print it here in the United States, once they put the design on it, once they put the tag on it, etc., etc., it becomes a U.S.-made end product.
Yep. Yeah. I dealt with that years ago where
still a Chinese-made shirt.
Yeah, I dealt with that years ago where there was a company that I think still exists, but they were advertising all over the internet, right? All over the internet. They made dress shirts for buff guys. And at the time I was still, ripped. And even when I'm not, my shoulders are so freaking wide, it's next to impossible to get a dress shirt that fits me properly. And so like, I was looking for exactly what they were advertising. Like, oh, it's dress shirts made for dudes who work out. Awesome. So they're like, yeah, all these other shirts, they have way too narrow shoulders, blah, blah, blah. We do all these cool things. And we, everything's made in the USA, custom made by us, and blah, blah, blah. So I spent, it was $125 a shirt, bought two of them. They showed up. Not only were they made in China, they were Chinese sized, which meant that they actually fit worse than the crap I could get at Buckle that also didn't fit me correctly. Like,
There's another one, auto manufacturer. Ford's a big one on this one, right?
oh yeah,
Like all the most of the components are made overseas, right? In Mexico, a lot of components are made in Mexico. Then they get shipped to
Same with
Kentucky and put
Chevrolet.
together.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know,
Any GM products are almost entirely made in Mexico. Dodge products are generally made in Canada. In fact, the most American manufactured car in the United States you can buy is almost a tie between Toyota and Subaru.
yeah.
And now there's another one that's been catching up lately is freaking Kia. And Volkswagen. Volkswagen has plants here now too.
Yeah,
don't
but
need
most Volkswagens are made in Wolfsburg.
Yeah.
We don't need to read the rest of that article. It's boring.
But yeah, I love laughing about that to people because, like, you know, obviously I'm buying an Alfa Romeo shortly. Hopefully this week, we'll see. And
Why do
like
you hate
it's
America?
entirely Italian manufactured.
Why do you hate America?
Do you really want the list? Because it's pretty long. But
Say.
I have an extensive list with multiple line items and sub items that I can go through.
The best engineers get hired overseas, you guys.
Yeah, but I mean, like that. I love to point that out when I get that whenever I've bought, because most of the vehicles I've ever owned, the vast majority are blatantly imported. So they're either German or they're Italian or whatever, or they're Japanese. But the funny thing is like I'll get crap from these idiot rednecks that are like, "Well, but why'd you buy that? Why wouldn't you buy like a Ford or a Chevy or a Dodge, made here in USA?" And I'm like, the most made in the USA cars are a Toyota and Subaru. Like, the rest of those don't get made in. You think they get made in Detroit? What planet do you live on? That's way too expensive.
Yeah, Ford's
Well, I don't know.
I don't
Labor
think Ford's
costs
even
and,
owned by an
and
American
land
company
costs.
anymore, right?
Ford
No,
is.
Ford still
Wait,
is.
who
Ford
owns
is its own
Ford now?
company.
No,
Ford.
Ford is
Okay.
still its own.
Ford manufactured.
It's
Yeah.
it's
Dodge.
Dodge Chrysler that got bought by Fiat.
And isn't even owned by Fiat anymore. Fiat
No.
doesn't own them anymore. It's Stellantis. Fiat sold it to Stellantis, which is a French investment firm. You know who else Fiat owns, though? Just to point out, Fiat also owns Alfa Romeo, Ferrari, Maserati.
I saw a Fiat on the road the other day, and it almost looked like a car.
I actually like the 500 Abarth. Like, I've always
Oh, yeah,
wanted a
there's-
500 Abarth.
Still
I don't want
they're
to have to
still headquartered in
maintain it,
Dearborn.
but I've always wanted one.
All right, Ford is still headquartered in Dearborn. I'll allow that.
Ford owns a shit ton. So for a long time, the funny thing is, like, Ford's one of those places that annoys me because Ford bought Aston Martin, not because they wanted Aston Martin, because they wanted Aston Martin's designs, which is why so many Fords to this day, even though they've now sold off Aston Martin, I think to Chery, the largest auto manufacturer in the world. Fun fact, Chery in India.
Cherry owns Saturn now too.
Yeah, Chery owns, everything. I mean, it is ridiculous. It's all either Fiat or Chery for the most part, or Volkswagen. Like, that's Volkswagen, Audi. Like, those three are the true big three of the world. But like, they bought Aston Martin because they wanted to make Fords look like Aston Martins, not because they wanted Aston Martin.
Right.
Now, arguably, Ford owning Aston Martin did make Aston Martins much better because they, function now. But for more than 5 seconds. But it's still like
older Aston Martins. If there ain't no oil under them, there ain't no oil in them.
Well, same with Jaguars. Like, Ford bought Jaguar. I think Ford still does
under 'em.
own Jaguar.
Yes. What's that?
Yeah. So there's a lot of oil
Yeah,
under
there's-
them.
Yeah, there's. Well, I mean, no, Jaguars and Aston Martins now post Ford purchase are not bad. They're generally pretty decent cars now. It's the same thing with Alfa Romeo. Everyone goes, "Oh, Alfa Romeo, those things, they only last." Well, in the 1980s, but then Fiat acquired them and shook everything up massively and was like, okay, you guys don't understand quality control. You're idiots. You're all fired.
No.
And completely transformed the company. So in 2017, when Alpha comes back, these things will run 150,000 miles without breaking a sweat now. They're fantastic cars.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of the Ford pickups. Because
Yeah, the F-150s, I mean, their downside is that they're aluminum. So they aren't as strong. And
but
I
they
have
don't rust.
seen the result of that. They don't rust. That is a big thing. They don't rust. And if you see my truck, you understand what happens when you have a bed made out of steel.
Mine's pre-aluminum. It's rusted to shit.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't rust. The problem is just that they should have had a mechanism where you had a bed interior that was steel and an exterior that was aluminum.
Yep.
Because
treated it with something.
Yeah, because what happens now is that it's so fragile that if you dump a load into it like you would a steel truck, you shatter the bed.
Yeah.
Buckshot, yeah. Schaller's had a fantastic run of luck with his F-150.
Yeah, well, the F-150
Well,
is the single most popular car on planet Earth.
Yeah. All right, let's get on to this last article. It's going to take us a few minutes. Justices reject appeal from man arrested for spoofing police.
This one pisses me off so much. Like, I know about this, and I just rage.
Yes.
See, this one I have not read.
This one it kind of goes along with the mural article, right? Just the ridiculousness of the micromanagement. All right, so the Supreme Court has rejected an appeal backed by the satirical site The Onion from a man who was arrested and prosecuted for making fun of police on social media. The justices on Tuesday left in place a lower court ruling against Anthony Novick, who was arrested after he spoofed the Pharma, Ohio police force in Facebook posts. After his acquittal on criminal charges, Novak sued the police for violating his constitutional rights, but a federal appeals court ruled that police officers have qualified immunity and threw out the lawsuit.
It's a QI case because even though it's blatant that they violated his rights.
Yes. Hold on. The Onion filed a brief in defense of the parody. Its lawyers wrote that the First Amendment protects people from prosecution when they make fun of others. Quote, the Onion's writers also have a self-serving interest in preventing political authorities from imprisoning humorists, the site's lawyers wrote in a brief filed in October. Quote, the brief is submitted in the interest of at least mitigating their future punishment.
Yeah, and what they filed is called an amicus brief. And if you're unfamiliar with amicus briefs, basically the assumption is within the American court system is judges can't possibly know everything about everything, right? They're human beings and they generally concentrate on law. So people who are considered like friends of the court or interested parties in the outcome of the suit are able to file amicus briefs explaining to the judge from an expert opinion.
PC files these all the time.
Yep. Yeah, they're able to then file those and say, hey, look, judge, here's what's going on. Here's what these people mean. Here's the implications of this case. Here's why the interests of the industry or whatever are this, to fully explain to a judge what's going on. So that's what those are. That's what the Onion filed. And the thing that drives me nuts about this case is that they got qualified immunity. And this is exactly why I tell everybody, especially conservatives, why I oppose QI. And they'll usually go, well, we're not going to agree. No. Listen to me. Okay. Here's the problem. These guys were just given qualified immunity for blatantly violating established by the Supreme Court limits on the state's power over the right to free speech. And now they've been granted QI after doing that for no actual reason other than effectively what QI has come to mean is that cops can do literally anything they want to anyone they want with zero oversight by the people they're supposed to serve.
Well, not only zero, but there's no precedence to charge the police with violating the guy's First Amendment rights. And that's because the courts refuse to set precedents, charging the police or ruling in favor of the people suing the police.
Yeah, and this is why I think a law that abolishes qualified immunity needs to happen. If you're going to still have police,
Colorado. Yeah.
Yeah, you abolish qualified immunity.
Yeah, Novak, he was jailed for 4 days and charged with a felony for making a parody Facebook page of the police department. Yeah.
Yeah, he parodied it.
Yes.
Openly and blatantly parodied. It said, and because I followed that Facebook page, it was hilarious. And it said parody, not actually whatever police department on it.
Yes. Yep. Let's see. While sitting at a bus stop on March 1st, 2016, Anthony whipped up a fake Facebook page to make fun of the Parma Police Department. The posts were clearly satirical and over the top. For instance, on his page, Anthony announced a noon curfew, as well as a job posting, quote, strongly encouraging minorities not apply. The page even had a fake slogan to boot, quote, "We know crime." Tipped off by a handful of residents, the Parma Police Department posted a notice on its Facebook page confirming that it was, in fact, the real Parma Police Department. Keep the joke alive, Anthony copied that notice to his page and deleted comments that called it fake. But when the department announced a criminal investigation into the parody later that night, Anthony deleted it, a textbook example of the chilling effect at work. All told, Anthony's foray into parody only lasted 12 hours and produced only 6 posts. Although the page was no more, Anthony's legal troubles were only beginning. After uncovering Anthony's identity through Facebook, Parma police persuaded a judge that there were probable cause Anthony had violated an Ohio law that criminalizes using a computer, quote, to disrupt, interrupt, or impair the functions of any police operations. As evidence, the department noted that it had received 11 non-emergency phone calls about Anthony's page.
11.
With warrant in hand, officers searched his apartment and arrested him. For good measure, police even confiscated all the devices that could connect to the internet, including his gaming consoles. Anthony was indicted and spent 4 days in jail. Ultimately, a jury acquitted Anthony on his felony charge.
They charged him with a felony.
Felony.
For a joke.
Yes. For 6 Facebook posts. To hold the police and city accountable for violating the First Amendment rights, Anthony sued them in federal court, but last year the Sixth Circuit U.S. Court of Appeals tossed a lawsuit. Although the court had, quote, doubts that it was, quote, worth a criminal prosecution, 2 appeals and countless hours of Novak and the government's time to go after Anthony, it nevertheless ruled that the officers were entitled to qualified immunity. Yes.
Jesus fuck.
Yep.
If you ever wonder, for anybody who says, just wait and for your day in court, this is what your day in court looks like.
One paragraph. Give me one paragraph. Hold your anger for one paragraph. Since Anthony had, quote, not identified a case clearly establishes deleting comments or copying the official warning as protected speech, it was, quote, reasonable for Parma police officers to believe they could censor his Facebook page, and so they were shielded by qualified immunity.
No.
I'll read that again. Since Anthony, quote, had not identified a case that clearly establishes deleting comments or copying the official warning is protected speech, end quote, it was, quote, reasonable, unquote, for Parma police officers to believe they could censor his Facebook page. That was what the Sixth Circuit,
just like every other qualified immunity case, because there's no precedent, we can't set a precedent because there's no precedent.
The fucking First Amendment is why they should reasonably understand that they can't do that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Guillotine. That's all I'm going to say. Fucking guillotine. If you don't understand, if you do not understand that the First Amendment means that you are not allowed to arrest people for exercising their right to free speech, and you are a government official, the French in the 18th century had a solution for you.
You know what the issue is? You know the real issue? I bet he read 1984 and that makes him a far right extremist. And then it's okay now for the government to go against him.
Oh my God!
Okay, there's a statement.
This
from
is
Anthony
this is
said,
the thing though. Hang on. This is the thing though that pisses me off is that this again is where remember that the Supreme Court has ruled that while ignorance of the law for the average citizen is no excuse, ignorance of the law is an excuse for police. Which is why right now they're being protected under qualified immunity from a civil suit that would seek to hold them accountable.
Yep. Statement from Anthony says, quote, "I'm disappointed the Supreme Court won't consider my case, both because I won't be able to hold the officers accountable for their violation of my rights, but also because I worry about what will happen to others who poke fun at the powerful. The government shouldn't be able to arrest you for making a joke at its expense."
Very, very funny comment, comrade. You go to Gulag.
Face the wall. Yeah. No.
Don't forget, like that's the thing, right? Like we have now after the fall of the Soviet Union, we have, we have the records from the KGB going after people for making fun of the government. We have after the fall of the Third Reich, we have tons and tons and tons and tons and tons of records of the Gestapo arresting and executing people for making fun of Hitler, for making fun of Göring, for making fun of Himmler, like making fun of the elite, right? We know that happened. The most disgusting and genocidal...
Parma is about 90 miles northwest of East Palestine.
Oh, so they'll be dead soon too.
Yeah, they'll also be poisoned. So
they're northwest. They're fine.
Oh, they're northwest. Yeah. So no, the winds they're upwind.
Winds are carrying it the other way.
But I mean, like the most disgusting and genocidal regimes in human history did exactly this.
Yes,
right. They arrested people for daring to mock them.
Not only to mock them,
you see that
once you destroy a person's ability to jest, right? To mock those in power, right? You destroy not only their ability, but their willingness to speak out against things that they don't like, right? So this is 1984, right? When they punished him at the end of the movie, the point where I love.
Yep. Jason's doing his robot voice again.
Fucking bonkers. I'm gonna start throwing things.
Hey, you're back now. See, as soon as you stop talking, then suddenly it works. It's probably because you're in California and they're trying to suppress your free speech.
Yep.
But I mean, like that's the thing though, is like we
Fucking
see that
AI.
you see it. You also see it in you see it in a whole bunch of works of dystopian fiction, right? You see it in V for Vendetta. Remember in V for Vendetta when he makes fun of the blatantly Nazi regime and then gets beaten up and blackbagged and executed. Like you see that exactly this happening in that. And people, the thing that disgusts me is that people will cheer V on.
Yep.
They will cheer Evie on in V for Vendetta, right? They will cheer Winston on in 1984. They will cheer, it's been so long since I read Animal Farm, I can't remember, but the animals who see what the pigs are doing on. They will cheer on Katniss Everdeen, and they will cheer on all of these rebels in these works of dystopian fiction.
But then they see it in real life, and they're like, "Oh, just comply, and you'll be fine."
Yeah, just comply. Just, well, but you should be punished because you were confusing people.
They wanted us killed over the last 3 years.
Yeah,
Because
they
we
wish
wouldn't go
death
along
on
with
us.
the program.
Which is why there
They
is
wish,
no
they wish
COVID
death on us.
amnesty.
They
Fuck
wish
you.
death on our kids. They wished it like a political genocide
Well,
because we wouldn't go along with them.
not only that, I mean, yes, I remember one story from just the other side of Wisconsin where a woman was in danger of having her kids removed from her house and
There
from her
was
custody.
a dad in Florida that lost custody of his kid because he wouldn't get it, or he didn't want to get it.
This was even before the jabs became available. Her kids were outside playing in their own yard, and one of the other neighbor kids came over and started playing with them.
Yeah.
And then the police showed up and they threatened to have her kids removed from her custody because don't you know there's a pandemic on?
Yeah.
The moment that you cannot criticize those in power is the moment that they have shown all of the colors that they have that you need to see.
Yep.
Yes. Yes, I agree. Oh.
You don't need to know any more about them anymore. You don't need to know any more about their nature or their true intentions or anything else because they've shown you exactly where they stand, and they've shown you that they do not stand in favor of your freedom, in favor of you being you, in favor of freedom in any way, shape, or form. They want you to be a quiet, compliant slave.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't have anything else, you guys.
It's, I mean, I can keep ranting for another 20, but it's, that's the thing though, is like, if you look at all of this dystopian fiction and you look at all of these things that, so many writers have written cautioning people, you see time and time and time again, this exact thing that people who are critical of government being arrested, critical of government being suppressed and being threatened and their livelihoods threatened and their freedoms threatened. You see time and time again that being talked about as how you know that a government is well and truly authoritarian and tyrannical.
Yep.
We always talk about how if you want to know who truly rules over you, look at who you're not allowed to criticize.
Yeah.
And you're apparently not allowed to criticize the police. Why? Because they're the violent arm of the psychopaths who sit in their marble halls and their, $1 million mansions in the Hamptons. They're a completely different class of person who you're not allowed to criticize. You're not allowed to say anything about, because if you do too loudly and too longly, then you risk your livelihood. You risk your freedom. You risk being put in a box for the rest of your life very quietly without you ever getting to do anything about it. And people go, well, you just take your day in court. Well, but the court is also part of that same machine. And that's what this case demonstrates, is the court is part of that exact same machine. No matter how much people want to hinge their hopes on, the Supreme Court, they're still part of the same machine.
Yeah, just like the today's February 26th, February 28th, 2 days from now. So that'll be day. Is the anniversary start of Waco siege.
Yep, the siege of Waco.
So we get to play that. We get to go through all of that again.
Yeah. Part of me really wants to get Tybalt on here. I know he's been on a lot of our friends' podcasts and stuff and everything, but
is he the one that did is he the one that wrote the book?
Yeah.
Yeah, he did a really great 2-part episode with Pete Quinones 2 or 3 years ago.
Oh man, the opening to that. that he had where he was talking about how Koresh ran out and said we have women and children in here,
Just shot at him.
you know, and they just started shooting, and like
No.
that was really, really good. I would love to have Tybalt on here. I mean, I haven't reached out to him yet or anything. I don't know if either of you guys wants to or anything,
I'm
but
sure
I would love to have him on.
It's the 30th anniversary. I'm sure he's a busy man right now.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure he's
Yeah.
going to be ridiculously busy and he's not going to have time.
Yeah.
But it would be super cool. It'd be super cool to have him on. It'd be a hell of a popular episode, let's be honest. If nothing else, like to have Tybalt on.
Speaking of anniversaries, tomorrow, the 27th, Monday, is the anniversary of when we had Brittany on. When we had Ann Bonnie or Taylor Swift, whichever social media platform you knew her from.
Who's expecting a baby?
The girl who did the diddle for Phoenix Ammunition. Yes, she's having a baby. They knocked her up and then put a ring on it.
Yeah, holy crap.
Oh, that one episode.
Craziness.
Yeah,
Good for them, though.
Yeah.
all sorts of anniversary.
All sorts of things. Yay.
All right.
Yeah.
All of the things.
This past week, by the way,
Let's go.
I think you just said let's
just-
throw out some plugs and get out of here.
well, I was going to say this past week, by the way, is also the anniversary of the destruction of the monastery at Monte Cassino by Allied forces, even though the Germans had blatantly agreed to never occupy it in order to protect the medieval monastery, which was the first monastery ever founded by Francis of Assisi.
Mhm.
And they blew it up for no appreciable military improvement.
Yep, that should be a TikTok video. We should go talk about that.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna.
Mr. Lacking.
I haven't been on
Mr.
TikTok
Lacking
in a
on
while,
making
and-
content.
Yeah, I know. I got it. Well, you know what? You know who you can blame for that? You can blame Maddie for that. She's been distracting me.
All right, I'll allow
No,
it.
I refuse. I refuse to blame her.
I didn't say I was going to blame her. I just said I'd allow it.
It's her fault. I
Nope.
I say it's her fault.
Nope, I refuse. I refuse. No.
Okay. We throwing up plugs. Chris, you want to start with your plug?
Sure. If you're a caffeine addict like I am, and you love the taste of that wonderful brown liquid that comes out piping hot in the morning, Coffee Brand Coffee. There's a link down below. You guys are disgusting. And Andrew, you get the shits every morning because you drink too much. If you're a caffeine addict, you love your coffee, get yourself some coffee. Use the link in the that's been scrolling across the ticker. It's down in the description below. If you happen to not like coffee, but you like cocos and teas, we have those too. And if you do use the link, you support me, which is supporting the channel. Go
The
for it,
link
Andrew.
is in our link tree. As well
Yes. Check out our link
our
tree.
Telegram-
It's got all sorts of fun stuff.
channel.
Yeah. We have a Telegram channel. Woohoo! Who knows? Maybe eventually we'll even have a Patreon and like you'll get access
never-
to Discord and all sorts of cool stuff.
That sounds like too much work.
I'll set up a Patreon. And
Well, hold
get
on. We're
Discord
not
working.
professionals here. We're not professionals here. We're not professionals. Don't get us in trouble.
Yeah, but I want to be. But I want to be.
Oh, we are. We are. Let's see. What is on Fountain? We are, according to Fountain, we are at 97 cents worth of Bitcoin.
Woohoo!
We have earned 97 cents worth of Bitcoin on Fountain. Oh, we are big money now, bros.
Woo!
As soon as Bitcoin goes to the moon, we might have enough to buy coffee.
All right.
Woo! Yeah.
You know?
Oh,
Should I
okay.
subscribe
So,
to Rumble other than you guys. Pete Quinones. I'll send you a link, Jack.
yeah.
There's a few
Okay, let me. And Cappy Voice. So, make sure that you buy Derica's book. It is called Think for Yourself, a thinking workbook for beginners. It's like $10 on Amazon. It is a workbook. It is for beginners. Please be aware of that. If you are going to buy it and leave a review, please use the content inside it before leaving a review. Thanks. We appreciate it. Also, if you want to care for your beard like a Viking, like I do, you're going to go to thebeardstruggle.com. Use code InkDanarchist15. You get 15% off of all of your beard care products. They have some fabulous scents. They have a straightener. They have all sorts of cool stuff. Night mask, growth serum. If you're struggling to grow a beard and look super manly, you can totally use that. It'll help. They have scents of stuff for the ladies. They have like shampoo, conditioner, they have perfume, they have cologne, they have all sorts of cool stuff. Personally, I am partial to Odin's Virtue myself for scents from them because it smells like apple, cinnamon, and oud wood, and it is fantastic. But, you know, hey, find your scent and check it out. And again, use code InkDanarchist15 to get 15% off. Also, we are friends with Dave from Poppins Patches, hence the Tropical Shark, I'm told, is what it's called now, patch on my hat. The one that started it all. It is super fantastic. It glows in the dark. Heads up. I didn't know that when I first got it. That was a fun surprise. He does all kinds of cool patches, and you'll notice I've had this patch for an extended period of time. There's a lot of white on it. None of the black behind it is bleeding through. It is super high quality. They're absolutely awesome. They will instill so much nostalgia in you that it is ridiculous. Also, we are an affiliate of RK Spookware, who has this adorable little ghost guy as his insignia. If you know what RK Spookware does, you know why you're interested in them. And if you don't, maybe look them up and figure it out and buy yourself a 3D printer. But anyway, you're going to need metal stuff, and that is what he does for that. And you should check him out. Use the affiliate link in the link tree. And then that way you support the channel when you do it. I am also an affiliate of Reaper Brand Apparel. Oh, hang on. We got this. There we go. Reaper Brand Apparel, super cool brand and super cool message. They have the Broken Not Defeated 10-day challenge, which I highly recommend to everybody. It is absolutely life-changing. And the messages, if you follow Reaper on Instagram, is absolutely amazing. Dude who runs it, super cool guy, really supportive, really great. He does seminars, all sorts of cool stuff. Absolutely fantastic. Again, it's Reaper Brand Apparel. If you use the affiliate link in the link tree, you get yourself 15% off. If you use code InkDanarchist, you get yourself 10% off when you go to order from them. They have hoodies, t-shirts, hats, all sorts of cool stuff. And again, awesome company, awesome message. Definitely deserve your support. I am also an affiliate of Lions Not Sheep. I forgot to mention them last week, and I realized that, and I was like, oh, crap, that was the one I was forgetting.
We still need to add them to the freaking link tree.
Yes, Lions Not Sheep. If you use the affiliate link, you get a discount, and you support me. And we'll throw that in there. Again, it's Lions Not Sheep. Again, really cool stuff. Really cool products, cool shirts. My personal favorite is their Free Man shirt. But they're super cool. Again, another cool company with a cool message, which is why I'm an affiliate of theirs, because they're awesome. Use the link that we'll throw in the link tree, and you get a discount, and you get to support me when you order stuff, which is super awesome. And I would be very much appreciative of you doing that. I feel like there's more. I do. I feel like I'm forgetting somebody that has supported me in some way.
Down.
Why would I write things down like a professional? What?
Beard Struggle.
That's Beard Struggle. I got. I think I got everybody. I may have everybody. Check out if you like my shirt, antistate.net.
Yes.
If you want to look up their stuff, they're super awesome.
Quality patches. I'm just saying,
super
quality patches. I love your stuff, Dave.
Dude,
I love your stuff, Dave. It's very quality. Also, Antistate also has quality patches. And
one of my favorite ones I wear every day is the Stand Clear probable drone target patch from them.
Yeah, super nice, cool stuff. I love their t-shirts. I think I am up to a dozen of their shirts now. And I have many, many more in their inventory that I wish to purchase soon. They're a super, super cool company, and everything's really high quality. The print is really high quality on the shirts, by the way. This shirt, like, you see how nice and crisp this image is? I wear this shirt constantly, and I've had it for like 3 years. And it's still like uncracked, nothing else. Thank your jackstrap for supporting you. Do you mean jockstrap? Does that say jockstrap? I don't know. I might be blind. I don't wear one. I don't play sports ball. Why the hell would I bother with that?
We're
Yes,
too old for
I'm
that
sure-
shit now.
Yeah. I'm sure we have other sponsors that I might be forgetting right now. I'm going to have to sit down and actually write all that stuff down. If you would like to become a sponsor, please send me a message and let me know. And I will be happy to hawk your crap all day, every day in exchange for free stuff and or discounts and or money. So
On that,
as long as I think you're a cool company. Now I will never hawk stuff on a not cool company, but if you're a cool company, I'm more than happy to support your stuff.
note, this has been a fantastic episode of Grifting Among Friends, and we will catch you on the next time. Peace.